Hey Aquarius, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings, so we take what works, leave what doesn't, as with everything in life. If I don't catch your wavelength on this reading, go check your other major placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. And let's see, I'm going to start off with the botanical inspirations for an idea of what energies we might be working with. And then we're going to move on to the tarot reading with the Golden Tarot, with the regular tarot spread. Well, my regular tarot spread that I do. Okay, so the energies here from this botanical inspirations, usually very Victorian ideals with these Victorian images of flowers. So we have Dahlia, signifying dignity. A wise man has dignity without pride. A fool has pride without dignity. Confucius. So Dahlia, maintaining your dignity. Magnolia, nobility and self-esteem. Oh my gosh, we've got dignity and nobility and self-esteem. Being proud of who you are, I think, is what we're dealing with here. There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow men. True nobility lies in being superior to your former self. So personal growth, self-esteem issues. That's Hemingway, that quote. And then we have Iris, rainbows and messages. When it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. So Iris, also about new beginnings. Also a very noble, the Iris, yeah, very noble thing. All right, Aquarius, we're going to move on to our tarot spread, keeping dignity, nobility, self-esteem, and rainbows and messages in mind. Someone got a personal yesterday with rainbows and messages, and then rainbows showed up and irises showed up in just about every card. It was pretty awesome. We're going to take this as the moon. So subconscious issues at play here. Things that you can't see, things going on in your subconscious. Oh yeah, I mean, we're looking at some root chakra issues, some root chakra work possibly, as far as like self-worth and yeah, the worthiness to be here, worthy of sustenance, including money, worthy of, yeah, self-esteem, some real root chakra, deep subconscious issues about worth and value. Of course, your worth cannot be changed. Your value cannot be changed. Society tells us otherwise, but we're born shitting and screaming with no skills or abilities or ability to contribute at all. And does our worth change after we're born? No. All right, Aquarius. This is your past, your present, your inner landscape. What's at issue? Your environment, your to-do list, and your possible outcome. All right, Aquarius, you might be getting sick of quarantine, but it's not sick of you. All right, in your recent past, you have judgment. You have something coming back from the past for reevaluation, hoping that it was good, hoping that something panned out or something was worthwhile. So some sort of situation from your past coming back here. Judgment is about looking at it, evaluating what went on, what you did, what your actions were they good? How do you feel about your performance so far in life? How do you feel about how you acted in a certain situation? Something like that coming back. This could be a little bit of karma or a little bit of our sort of cultural idea of karma, of things coming back from the past to facing the consequences of something, or just reevaluating something conceptually that went on in the past. Was it right? Was it okay? If we're dealing with issues of dignity and self-esteem, perhaps we're dealing with ways in which you've been treated in the past, which you're now able to see were not right, were not okay. You're now able to see something a little more clearly. It's come back. It's come back for a reason right now, I want to say, because you're now able to see something a little more clearly, some sort of event or experience or way that you used to be, and you can see it in a different perspective now. So in your current situation, you have 5 of Swords. Oh, I haven't really gotten this one in this new deck here, this Golden Tarot deck. But 5 of Swords is usually So you can be any of these three people. You can be the guy here that takes everybody's swords, has the swords, they're all his. He wins, winner take all. This is sort of that mentality, not even that mentality, but there are actual situations in our life where it's not necessarily winner take all, but we might have to behave in ways where we have to take action. We have to take a stand. This is a lot about self-worth, because if you're stuck in a situation where so this is between a rock and a hard place, there's no easy way out, and every decision sucks. That's kind of where we're at, where you might be at right now. Every possible movement sucks. So you might have to make a decision between saving yourself and saving someone else. So if you're a person that usually sacrifices yourself for others, or does what other people think you should do, or something like that. We're talking about dignity and self-esteem. We're talking about you may have to take some actions that you find unsavory and unlovely, but you have to do that for your own dignity, for your own self-esteem, to preserve yourself. You may be in a situation where it's a lose-lose situation. Nobody's going to win here. There's no compromise available. And you're just in a really difficult situation where you're going to have to choose, are you going to stand up for yourself and fight, or are you going to let someone else run you over? So this is possibly one of my least favorite cards, the Five of Swords, because we've all been in those situations where there's just not a good solution. There's not a win-win. It's just you either win something, but you lose something in the process. Like it could be your dignity, it could be your self-esteem. So I guess there are a bunch of different ways that this could unfold here, this sort of decision. For the most part, we don't want to sully our own souls in an attempt of self-preservation, but sometimes we do have to decide whether, is lying the least bad thing to do in this situation, even though, you don't want to do that, you'd prefer not to. But in the situation, do you have to preserve your life by telling a lie? You live to not lie again another day. So maybe telling the lie today to save your life is worth it. So that's just an example of some of the difficult rock and a hard place situation. Just kind of life. There's a lot of kind of karma life stuff going on in this reading so far, with this judgment the card, this thing coming back from the past for reevaluation, you having to make a decision about what you value more, and possibly having to make a decision that goes against your own value system, or being encouraged to, depending on what you usually do, being encouraged to make the decision that goes with your value system, but you lose out a little bit. So I'm not here to tell you what decision to make. I'm just here to report that this situation is a lose-lose. It's between a rock and a hard place. Life is always throwing us into these impossible choices, impossible decisions, where it just seems to be, it comes up often enough in all of our lives where there's just a really difficult choice and decision, and there's no real way to come out of it. But these flower cards are really asking you to look at self-worth. Are you worth it? Do you feel like you're worth making some sacrifices for? I know that sounds really funny, but it is a bit of making a sacrifice of yourself for a different part of yourself. And there's a sense of self-preservation here, maintaining your dignity. But this Five of Swords situation puts you in a place where there's not really a good option for maintaining your dignity, keeping your hands clean, not making a difficult decision. This is just like the mob comes and they're like, okay, we're going to take some of your fingers. You get to pick which ones. And that's the choice that you have in Five of Swords. To me, Five of Swords is always about a choice, a decision that you make of the least bad options. And you need to know that there's some subconscious issues going on here. There's things that you don't see about this situation, even things about yourself, and your habitual decisions that you make that you might not be seeing in this situation. And there is definitely something, this may be a need to reclaim your own self-esteem and your own dignity, but it may be a little bit of a dirty process that you're not used to. Or this could be reclaiming your dignity and self-esteem by choosing the more dignified option, and not getting your hands quite as dirty as you normally would, dear Aquarius. So I'm fiddling here with these cards, and I don't need them and I don't want them. All right, so what's your inner landscape? What's at issue is this Eight of Coins. This is about work, and usually you might be thinking about work, thinking about, and here we have the woodpecker. So for me, the woodpecker being in this picture is about somehow incorporating who you are into your work, incorporating your identity into the work that you do, into your life, into the decisions that you make, real world decisions where you incorporate more of who you are. Because the woodpecker here is, yeah. Anyway, my brain, that's how my brain interprets this card right now. So this is about incorporating who you are more into the reality of your life, and more maybe into the work that you do. And there is like a sense of wanting work. You might be wanting work that's really absorbing, that you really enjoy, that you can really sink your teeth in and bring your personality into. It might just also be about just in general in your physical life, because the coins are our physical life. So in your physical life, just into reality, wanting to bring a part of who you are into that reality, wanting to express some core values that you have in reality, bringing that into the physical. And you might be hoping that you can do that, and hoping that you can feel that this situation is really asking you to get down to brass tacks about what you do value and who you really are. Are you someone who can stand up for yourself even if it costs you something? Are you someone who can hold to your values even if it costs you something? Are you someone who can work in service to some deeper part of yourself even though you lose some sort of shallower part of yourself? So I don't see this as a situation you can just walk away from. I think if you do, you lose. So, but you want to be bringing who you are into the situation. And I think there might be a decision about which part of you want to bring into this situation. You need to be aware that there might be subconscious self-esteem issues at play. And that can go either way, as far as like being overly protective of yourself and what you want and not willing to negotiate, or it can go the other way where you're typically being more passive about what you want, and this is asking you to be more bold, because you really want to bring some part of yourself into this situation and express some part of yourself. And it might be your dignity, it might be your self-esteem, saying, no, I'm not going to let you run over me anymore like this. I'm going to stand up for myself, even if it means sacrificing some other dream of my own or some other idea that I have. I'm willing to sacrifice parts of myself in order to stand up for myself. And so what's at issue here is this King of Coins in reverse. So the King of Coins, this is, so we have this Eight of Coins that you're thinking about. King of Coins is someone who typically has all the money, that they hold the kingdom's purse strings, a very slow moving, deliberate energy. So someone might be being a little too rash, spending a little too much. I mean, we have this Eight of Coins here, spending too much money, or not having money issues is what I'm seeing here. Or moving too fast with money issues. So spending too much, or just having some serious money issues, some blockage about money. This is the King of Coins gone wrong could either be like some sort of blockage, or he's already slow moving. So instead of being slow moving, we're just not moving at all. This is like monetary constipation or something, or work constipation or something like that. Or it could be like it's just flowing too fast, or there's just not enough. So the King of Coins definitely has enough, and he's got all his ducks in a row. He's moving very slowly and deliberately towards his goals. He's a bonds man, not a stocks man. So we could be having some sort of issue where this is either someone's being incredibly stingy and there's zero flow whatsoever, not even slow flow, but there's just a stinginess, and there's like just a not, or there's not enough, or there's just some sort of money issue or work issue that's just stopped completely, and it's just not. There's no flow, not just little flow, but no flow. Or there could be some serious irresponsibility about money or work going on here. So in your environment, you have this Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords is about someone's coming in with some truth bombs here. The swords are about communication, about seeing very clearly. Queens are about internal work, what they know. They're more internally focused than the king. King is externally focused. So this is part of that king vibe, is some sort of external thing that's going on that where there's money or work blockage, or irresponsibility, some sort of irresponsibility in your work or irresponsibility with money, or a block in either of those fields. And then we have this Queen of Swords. So someone around you, possibly a person, it's an actual court card. So it could be an actual person with a lot of clarity, with a lot of truth, a truth that has the power to transform. It's her truth. It's what she knows. It's what she thinks. And she's coming in here with a strong the Queen of Swords can really cut deep. This could be challenging to your self-esteem, to your own dignity. This Queen of Swords could be someone in your environment that's very challenging to your dignity, and is able to really cut you down. She's so focused on her truth, on what she believes, on what she thinks, just incredibly focused on that without even an understanding or realization of of her effect on other people, and what might be good for everybody. So the Queen of Swords, this energy can be just fine to get into, of just like, what is my truth? What is my belief? And I'd feel better if it was coming in your internal here, or your to-do list or something. But in your environment, this Queen of Swords could be very, very sarcastic, very mean. They might have a point. That's the issue with the Queen of Swords. She does have, literally, she's got a point. She's got a point. But the way she expresses it can be a little cutting. So she's just really focused on what she sees and isn't really focused on how she's coming across. And there are times and places for that in your life. But when you're on the receiving end of somebody's harsh sword here, it could be a little difficult. So you might be having dignity might come in. Your own dignity might be coming in here with someone with a harsh cutting communication style. So some verbal abuse possibly going on here. In your to-do list is this 10 of Wands here. This is the end of the line. This is setting down burdens, setting down expectations. You may have taken them on yourself, but you're starting to realize that these expectations and these burdens weren't yours to carry. You might be carrying a burden that is just not yours to carry. You've hit the wall. You've come to the place where we put our burdens down and we ship them off to some other fool. But this is the end of carrying this burden. But unfortunately, this is something you have to do. This is your job, is to put it down. The burden, your arms may have gotten stuck like this. Your elbows may no longer work. You may be a little bit stuck like this. This is going to take some work to put down the burdens of other people's expectations, to put down the burdens of your own expectations. You've been carrying something that's not yours to carry and is unnecessary. So this is other people's shit, other people's garbage, other people's shoulds. People have been shoulding all over you, and it's time for you to put that down. That's going to take some work. That's going to take some effort to put down this burden. And this burden might be affecting your sense of nobility. We have dignity, nobility, and self-esteem here. So, so this might be time to put down this burden. Of some sort of something subconscious, some sort of subconscious burden of low self-esteem, lack of dignity, something like that. This is very undignified. You shouldn't have been carrying this, but you did take it on. But it's time for you to kind of wake up and realize that you're carrying somebody else's burden. It's not yours. It's not yours to carry. So, and where you're going with this. Oh, just notice when it's dark, look for stars. And here we have the moon card representing some darkness here. We have the Hermit card here. So the Hermit card is about following your own North Star, really putting down these burdens of other people's expectations, what other people's thought, and figuring out for yourself, for only yourself, what you're going to do. So the Hermit can be, it's about, you don't necessarily have to be alone, but it really helps because you get rid of all of these labels, all of these expectations, you know, sibling, daughter, mother, employee, getting rid of this burden, the burdens of other people's labels, other people's expectations, and just heading out on your own, being very focused. This is Francis of Assisi. What does Francis of Assisi do? He talks to animals. He's a fucking saint. How do you talk to animals so much you become a saint? I'm actually kind of impressed by the Catholic Church for in sanctifying him, because that's really strange. That's a really interesting saint to be. But you talk to animals. He doesn't get here. He doesn't get to his spot here by carrying other people's burdens, carrying what other people think, carrying what other people believe. He doesn't get here to his own North Star by doing this. He's also moving very slowly. We move bit by bit here. There's not a lot of clarity in this future situation, possibility here, but you are following your own North Star. And each step you check in. Does this feel right? Does this feel good? To me, not to all these people around me that are trying to tell me what I should be doing, but to me. So this is heading out on your own journey. Can you talk to animals? How would you know unless you put this shit down and go pick up your own North Star, not other people's expectations, but picking up your own North Star and moving forward. You got to put this shit down though, because you can't pick up your lantern when your arms are full of what other people expect from you and what other people tell you who you are and what you should be doing. So you're going to go step by step here, and you're going to be following your own path. You're going to be figuring out how to integrate your true self into your life, this woodpecker self here, into your work, into your life. You're going to be figuring out how to do that. You're going to go slow, you're going to go bit by bit, but you are going to be moving, because there's no movement here. You are going to be moving. So even though you're in the hermit mode, you are moving forward, and you're moving forward only checking in with yourself, only checking in. This person may have one of the things about people around us that can cut us with their own ideas and their own opinions, they can sound so right and so sure about themselves, and then we take it on like this, and when we get interfered with, and this path gets interfered with. So I want to talk about, there's something about anorexia here. There's something about that concept of other people putting onto us expectations and interfering with our own sense of self and interfering with our own sense of self-worth, and somehow feeling entitled to tell us how we need to be, what we need to do, and really getting in there and mucking up our own internal work. So it's time to put that down, which can be a process, which might need some help. Especially if your arms are sort of frozen like this, you might need a physical therapist or some other kind of therapist to help you unpry your arms from this burden that you somehow think is part of who you are and what you have to do in this life, so that you can get here. And this is coming right underneath here. This is integrating who you truly are into your actual life. And this is figuring out who you truly are. So if you're wanting to do this, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to put down these expectations of other people. This almost need to agree with other people about what reality is, about who you should be, about what's important. And someone else may have been telling you all of this, and you may have been believing them. So that's your job, is believing the things that they tell you. And so there is something here about other people interfering with our self-esteem, with our dignity, and needing to put a stop to that. This is quite a tall order for 1 week. I really don't think that's going to happen in 1 week, but this is part of your journey that you're on, and you need to get moving forward step by step, integrating more parts of yourself and bringing yourself, that someone's been interfering with this self-esteem, with these issues, and they feel entitled to do that, and they're really not. So this is going to be a process of you disentangling yourself from someone else's sense of entitlement over who you are, what you should look like, what you should be, what you should be doing. All right, Aquarius, that was a fascinating read for me. I absolutely loved it, though. I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for your likes, subscribes, and comments. I really do appreciate that.